You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include complex relationships, death, romance, flirting, blood, fantasy violence, gore, grief, and references to rats, fire, and arson. Arc 3, Episode 20. Twice Bitten, Now Dead. From Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chang. Even at the stroke of midnight, Inferno's arts district is bustling. Pedestrians trawl busy streets painted neon by dazzling lights. Trendy cafes and austere bookstores decorate the sidewalks, interspersed with grand, sprawling piazzas carved from historical brick. But Tavash doesn't lead you to an art studio or an exhibition hall or a modern cineplex of glass and silver. Instead, the Shrike leads your strike team to the one and only eyesore amidst a vibrant neighborhood, a burned-down shell of a building. It stands in the midst of an otherwise gorgeous plaza, all scorched wood and crumbling brick. You see the bones of a staircase winding up to nowhere, old rubble pockmarking grimy floors, the rotted remnants of a once lush carpet. Whatever this building used to be, it was grand. Now, it's a decaying husk. Tavash stands at the threshold, taking in the blasted architecture as one might the gravestone of an old, beloved enemy. They breathe in the night air, and then step inside. Make yourselves at home, House Nova. The rats of Inferno certainly have.
This place has seen better days. And Xainan does actually look for the better days in all of the cracked wood and the burns and the detritus that is undoubtedly blown in. He looks for the light in the ruin.
You find it in the shattered once chandelier that's now strewn in 1,000 different glass pieces. You find it in the remnants of decadent, lush carpeting and flooring and wallpaper that's barely more than scorch marks strewn amidst rubble. You find it in that staircase, the bones of a once elegant and beautiful and towering structure now rendered desolate by the ravages of time. There are snatches of its old glory here and there, but certainly nothing, just a pale, ruined, rotting shade compared to what it used to be. How do you take this place in, Seir?
Seir is walking, I think, partially hand in hand with Yinghe until they reach this ruin, and every muscle in Seir twitches. There's something about ruins for him, where he would and could always see, hear, be besieged by doom. And I think, like instinct, Seir's looking for that. He's waiting for the call of doom, indications of the ruin of this place. The same way he found oil-slicked omens in the old temple in the Wild Sea, or the sound of hunger in the City of Heaven.
Would you like to try to seek out the doom of this place?
I would.
Okay, what action are you using?
Fuck me. I will use command.
Command. So just looking around is not enough to command doom to come to you. You must take more action than that.
Okay, then I will say survey then. That'll
Okay,
be more
survey.
accurate. Yeah.
Great, sounds good. How many pips do you have in that?
1.
1. I will say your position here is actually controlled because, as you recall your conversation with Tsing Tsing, the abbot, back at the temple, magic here is a lot more removed than it was in the Wild Sea, than it was in the City of Heaven. It's not like if you fuck up here, a bolt of lightning from the heavens will strike you dead, as it might have in the City of Heaven. It's different. It's more subtle. The effect here will be standard.
Okay.
So you can add your bonus because there's no roof here and there is moonlight, though it's a little paltry. There's clouds coming and going, but I'll let you add your bonus here.
Sure. Yeah, Seir's looking for any sign. If Doom has taken a different form, he wants to know what that is. How does that even look like here? As one of my dice falls off. Thank you, Shiva. He nudges it to me. What a sweet boy.
Shiva roll.
Aww.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sweet
That's
baby.
a 5 and a 4.
So 5 is the highest. Okay, partial success. So as you cast your blue gaze across this desiccated husk of a once gorgeous structure, you don't hear the screams of the people that were here. You don't hear the roaring of fire because there's clearly evidence of fire damage here. Nothing like that. No huge vision of destruction or calamity or cataclysm. But a straining within your ribcage, behind that birthmark tattoo on your chest, pulls you in the direction of Tivash. Specifically at Tivash as they lean against one of the steps on that still standing staircase and cast their own gaze around this space, and you see it, the sadness in their red eyes, the unspoken grief in the tight lines of Rhododendron's mouth, the darkness within the wrinkles of Yada's brow. The doom here of Inferno, whatever it is, it's not some huge world-ending event. Artemis had as much hinted toward it that this is supposed to be a smaller assignment. It's a lot more personal, this doom. It's in the people, their histories, their intertwined conflicts, their strifes. And as you feel that tug, you feel that pull, trying to meet doom on doom's terms here, it's not that that stag-headed man has abandoned you, Seir. It's just that he looks different here. He's not an apparition, he's a feeling. He's a cycle.
And Seir leans into that. I think fingers linger on the char marks on the stone, and he like freezes staring at Tivash, and there's a cycle of images behind his blue gaze of all of these people. And thinking about cycles, he thinks of the Wild Sea, of the tree, the seed, of Eregnis. He thinks of cycles within the City of Heaven. And Seir realizes an odd truth here. That doom is not what he expected. That it's not just fire and destruction and the shattering of mortal shells. Maybe... And he says this out loud, probably to Yinghe's ears. Maybe doom is just a bad ending.
Bad ending? Like whatever ended this building?
Oh. I mean, sort of. I think a bad ending for the people. And I think Yinghe can see that he is staring into Tavash's back as if that sight could light a flame that would ignite and illuminate everything. Sorry, I was just speaking aloud.
No, I know you see visions, and I would trust your gut instinct if I were you. But this place, Seir, I've been here before. We've been here before. And Yinghe looks at Lumièra. Lumièra, you've been here before. The texts that you got when you first arrived in Inferno, they brought you here. This is where you ran into Yinghe.
I think Lumièra, upon realization, the closer and closer she got here, Yinghe could feel her eyes burning into his back, desperately trying to make eye contact in a way, communicating, we've been here. And when we stop, she sees her teammates looking around. However, Lumièra feels like a match has been struck. And she turns sharply towards Tavash, her eyes narrowed and slitted, as her tone is accusatory and sharp. Are you the one that's been texting me?
Texting you?
Why would you bring me here? What is the point?
A slight turning of the head, a 15-degree angle as they consider you, and they say carefully, slowly, and truthfully, I have not been the one that's been texting you, Miss Nova. Someone led you here?
What is the point of this?
And as you shout out, Lumièra, the magic within you, the magic that has been bound by fate, it strains, it throbs, seizes hot, cold within you, and aftershocks of that pain from the gallery, from the ritual, from the entire time you've been here but restrained, resonates, ricochets through your nervous system like a stray bullet. This place that you are in contains so much history. There is a past here that is beckoning to you, but your chronergy is seizing against fate's irrevocable bindings. Fate's threads will not break. Not here. Not like this. And it hurts as your time magic struggles to breathe.
Lumièra rocks back and forth, swaying a bit in her step, but she bites it down, holding it, keeping it steady as that unbearably painful, incessant thrum. The line, it feels like, that reaches from her belly button all the way to the middle of her chest, right underneath her birthmark or tattoo. But lashing out is what she knows. It's the most convenient outlet. So she turns towards Tavash again. I don't have time for lies. I don't have time for your bullshit. So now is the time. What happened here?
Tavash, with a brow raised, glances between Lumièra and the rest of your strike team. It's clear that there was a flare of something with Lumièra. It's clear that there was some kind of pain that rocked through her, even as she's tethering herself to the present with this intense surgical focus and precision that she's always had. So before Tavash responds, Xainan and Seir, how do you react to this outburst?
The moment that Lumièra starts to show any falter, that just microsecond before she lashes out again, Xainan can feel that breath, the one he felt on the rooftop, this void that keeps haunting them, not like a ghost, not like love or grief or a memory, but something that he doesn't understand. And he cannot answer for himself. He is waiting, so he stands there, he notes it. And his eyes, when Tavash looks to all of them, are locked on Lumièra with a disconnection between them. Because he does not understand, and he can see that something is wrong. And he's not hiding it.
And neither does Seir. Seir's eyes snap back towards Lumièra, and he's already moving closer towards her, and he follows the same damn thing he does all the time. He's looking for it, that thorn. The thorn that's hurting her, that he senses from her, that hitch of her breath, that pained biting back of something in the way that she lashed out. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it so he can protect her? Where is it that he can stop it? And he hears that loop again in his head. Stop it. Can't see it. It's... How can he protect something he can't see or know or understand? So he stands there watching, knowing that there's a deep hurt that he can't fix right now. And that breaks his goddamn heart.
Yinghe's hand had slipped out of yours, quietly and compassionately as a shadow's, and they're by Lumièra's side, and one hand is on your shoulder, Lumièra, from Yinghe. They don't say anything, but they do give you a light squeeze, and those pools of pure moonlit silver are looking at you with open, unmasked concern. Nothing about Yinghe has ever been masked.
Yinghe feels the tense, vibrating, and shaking of Lumièra's entire body. If only you were looking at her with the closest, most subtle of eyes, would you see the way her fists are tightly clenched at her sides, but are shaking, unbridled in pain, in frustration, confusion, anger.
And Lumièra, as Tavash pivots the entire attention to you, you see your pain, your desperation, mirrored in Tavash's crimson eyes. There's pain there too. That was the thing that was buried deep. Underneath the grief. The grief is the thing they wear proudly on their sleeve. The pain, the suffering, this thorn that they've been holding, that they've impaled themselves upon. How long has it been lodged there? You see yourself there too. And when Tavash speaks to you, leaning against their cane, it is with a kind of openness that they did not display back at the cathedral. And he says, "Do you know how many people have just walked right up to me and asked me exactly what it is that happened with me, between me and Rhododendron, between me and Aditi? What I think, what I want, how I feel. Exactly one. Only one person. In my entire time being alive, in my entire time being dead and then alive and then dead again, only one person has ever bothered to ask me about me. No one else before, no one else since. Like I said, at the Weeping Saint, this is the place where it all began. This is the place where I met the spider. This building wasn't always a wreck. Once upon a time, it was the hottest venue in town. The Inferno Dance Hall. Anyone with a thirst, whether they were mortal or undead, could find something to slake it with here. The dance hall claimed no house, and no house claimed it, though many tried, including my own and Thakrar. It was neutral ground, no man's land, which meant you could run into anyone here at any time. There was only one rule: blood shall not spill. I was young when I met the spider. Well before either of us were turned. I'd heard of them before that, of course. The suspended middle child of House Thakrar, hanging uncomfortably between the frivolities of youth and the duties of succession. We were the same age. Still are, I suppose. As the only heir of House Lanius, I was pointed spear first in the direction of Astor Thakrar, the eldest of the spiders. But he paid me no mind. I was beneath his notice, you see. Half a decade shorter in the tooth. One night, my mother brought me to the dance hall for some reason that escapes me now. All I remember is that it was a masquerade. I wore a half mask of snow-white feathers and a single black stripe across the eyes. It was gorgeous, but the plumage did keep tickling the side of my face. I did as I was supposed to do. I mixed, I mingled, and then I saw it. The most beautiful and frightening mask in the entire dance hall. Well, aside from mine, of course. It was antique and gold and just a touch unnerving, with elegant carvings of a spider's legs cupping the eyes and face. There were flowers hewn into the metal, too. Rhododendrons. Across the dance hall, across the twisting, moving bodies, we saw each other. And I realized who they were. I looked away first, like they weren't worth my time, because they weren't. Not yet, anyway. When I glanced back, the spider was doing something else, but rear mouth was set in this tight little line. And I knew that I had won. We didn't talk. Not that first time. But we did see each other more and more, not just here, but throughout the city. We had both recently come of mortal age, and we were expected to perform the duties of our respective houses. Perform them well enough, and we would be turned in due time. They were a thorn in my side. Every endeavor I embarked upon, the spider was there to complicate things. They contested demolitions, bribed public works officials, entombed us in paperwork. Even hosted rare precious bloodbaths during groundbreaking ceremonies to divert traffic away from us. How petty. But I was no victim. I did the same. Worse, even, if you ask me. Noisy construction during gallery openings, dump trucks parked in extremely inconvenient places, paperwork of our own to rival the oceans they tried to drown us in. Our houses warred, and so did we. We were enemies, opponents, rivals of the highest order. For every step one of us took forward, the other ensured we took 2 more back. It was a vicious tango. I became obsessed with destroying them, annihilating them, body, mind, and soul. I dreamed about them, the way they held their body with a critic's condescending rigidity, the flash of superior yellow in their hazel eyes even well before they were turned, the sneering curve of rear lips. There was vulnerability, too, in the rare moments that their mask slipped. It slipped more often back then than now. Don't get me wrong, they were still a Thakrar. No one noticed except the spiders, Willow, Yara, Astor, certainly. And me. Despite what Rear Matriarch demanded of Rem, I saw. And I understood. I understood what drove them, what made them tick, what set them off. I saw all those bruised, bloody buttons beneath rear flesh, and I delighted in pressing them hard until Reed gasped. I knew how to hurt Rem, how to really hurt Rem, what to say, what to do. I enjoyed it. I derived a great measure of satisfaction from making them squirm. But they were no victim either. When you step into the web weaves around you, even if you think you're smart enough, strong enough, agile enough to escape its grasp. They saw me too. They peeled back my flesh, witnessed the bloody, beating mess of me. Then they plunged their claws inside me and twisted. They knew what drove me, what made me tick, what set me off. And for years, we danced that desperate duel back and forth again and again until we knew the other more than we even knew ourselves. One night, we were here again, at the dance hall. We made eye contact. I looked away first. I went to the archway that our houses once built together, and I waited. When Rhododendron showed up, we didn't speak at all. Under the light of the full moon, we did something we were not supposed to. And we danced. Things changed after that. By night, we were still rivals, enemies. They still opposed me at every turn, and I them. But by day, while our families were resting, while the houses slumbered, we were lovers. All of it was very secret, of course. No one could know. Our mothers suspected, I think, but they never knew. The idea was unfathomable. Years passed. Both of our mothers began pushing the matter of turning. It was almost time. We were almost ready. I was the one who came up with it. The idea. Our grand announcement. I was sick of it, you see. The hiding, the secrecy, the feud between our houses. At the time, it felt so pointless and small in the face of what I had with them. In the face of our love. What a cruel word. Back then I was hopeful. Foolish. I convinced Rhododendron to meet me at the archway. Together we would travel to a mutual friend who claimed no house. This friend would turn us both, for he had the gift of the river, the ability to gift immortality to those who needed it. We would become vampires, outside of the ties that bound us to our houses. We would dance through our undeath, not as rivals or enemies, but as partners, equals, lovers. We would announce this to our families, to all of Inferno. But then, well, there were complications. Dreaming is easy, you see. Making the dream real is the difficult part. My mother became aware of my ambitions, and so I was late to our meeting that night. Terribly late. And when I arrived, the bricks beneath the archway were drenched in blood. Ro was not there. So I went to the Prince of Ink. In his shop. We waited until dawn. And then dusk. And then we heard about that terrible business with Astor. Things changed. After that, the spider and I became enemies again. This place burned down. And that's that.
The story washes over Xainan, filling in gaps and questions and creating so many more. And he latches on to this vague ending the business with Astor. What could end such a familiar story to him, one of love and challenge? What happened with what happened to Astor?
Astor died. But the details are not my story to tell. I am not that cruel. I would not do that to Rhododendron. Not even now.
Back to the spider then. For that.
I tell you all this story not to garner sympathy points for me in my tragedy, but for two reasons. One is because you seek answers, and I think I have some that I might be able to provide. Another is to warn you. When you try to step out of your ordained role in Inferno, the city will punish you. The houses will punish you. Those who try to do good never last, and their ends are always painful.
Lumièra looks as if there was a bucket of ice water that was tossed directly in her face. Practically a waterfall of ice water. She steps back, almost as if Tavash's words were laced with fire or venom, as if they burned her specifically to the touch. She doesn't have much else to say. Just sobering looks.
Yinghe's hand tightens, not painfully, but with concern a little bit around your shoulder as she notices this. Doesn't try to pry it out of you, but it definitely registers for her. As she looks back at Tavash with wide silver eyes. But both of you are still alive? Kind of. You know, the whole undead thing. Can't you try to work things out? I mean, you're both still here. You both cared about each other? Surely that's worth something. You're right, Yinghe. We did both care about each other. What we had was real. It was also doomed from the beginning. Back then, I thought perhaps love was possible. Perhaps I could have something that I wasn't supposed to. Perhaps I could bite into this fruit, swallow it, and it wouldn't hurt me. Didn't account for the razor blades embedded inside its flesh. The houses will always punish those viciously who step out of line, who have that fulsome, foolish, mortal hope that things could be different. I know better now. I know better than to try.
You would be surprised, Lumièra says, squeezing Yinghe's hand back trepidatiously, her hands still shaking, but her gaze is at the ground, unable to look anyone directly in the eyes. You would be surprised the lengths that someone will go to ignore what they tell themselves, to ignore the lengths that people will go to reinforce whatever they think is right. Lumièra sits back. Sometimes the thing that hurts the most is ignoring exactly what it is that bothers you. Trying to be something that you're not. And she shakes herself from Yinghe's hand.
Yinghe lets
Sticks her
go
hands in
without
her pockets.
protest, but she does linger close by. And Tavash fixes those bleeding crimson eyes on you, Lumièra, and says, "You are struggling with something, I can tell. It's much too late for me, but perhaps it's not too late for you. Whatever it is that you're in conflict with. The four of you are newcomers to Inferno, after all. If I may offer some more unsolicited advice, get out. Leave this city before it sinks its bloody claws inside your heart and kills it.
And I think Lumièra says slowly under her breath, only Yinghe probably is close enough to hear it. What do you do if it already has?
Since Yinghe is the only one who hears it, you're not trying to let Tavash hear this. You feel something on the periphery of your vision as their head snaps in your direction, that concern emanating from them. But Tavash leans back and addresses the rest of your group as a whole now. You cannot break a cycle. The cycle breaks you. And the more you struggle, the worse the shattering becomes. I understand that now. My heart died a long time ago. But perhaps I can try to spare the four of you the same pain. I would not wish it upon my greatest enemy.
Xainan stands there like his feet are made of rocks. Not because of the weight of the sadness of Tavash's story, the reality that they live in, the genuine fear that he can hear in Tavash's voice of this city and what it can do. But he hears this persistent drumming, cycles, the sad, weary faces of people at LSSG, the haunted look in Lumièra's eyes sometimes. He looks to her, and he can feel his heart pounding in his chest, wondering what pain she is holding that she has not said. He doesn't look at her as an agent, as the spokesman of LSSG. He sees in her eyes the young woman that he heard say the word family. And he forgets that there's a mission, or that they're in constant danger here. Because he just wants to make this pain stop for this young woman that is his family.
Echoing like Xainan's heart within his chest is also a drumming. Seir's pulse echoes past his ears, in his head, in his heart. The rumming of all the realization of cycles, tragedies, the doom of these people. The story's not over yet, right? The story cannot be over. And he just wonders that to himself, of the bad endings that are fulfilling right in front of him, and his loss. And he thinks of Lumièra. He senses it like breath, like heartbeat. Her pain, the questions she holds back, the mountain of suffering that he is aware of that she's hiding. How could he not know? He knows it. He doesn't know how to fix it. He doesn't know how to fix Inferno. I don't know how to fix this hurt.
Well, I've shown you my heartbreak. I've shown you my grief. I've shown you the story of the spider and the Shrike as best as I can tell it. And I advise your house, you spiderlings, you associates of Thakrar, to ask Rhododendron about Astor, if you wish to know the whole picture from here on out. But the truth of our houses is, we have always hated each other. And we always will. I know that now. I was deluded into thinking that love and hate were two sides of the same coin, and with enough effort we could flip it onto its other face. Now I know the truth. There is no other side. Tavash lowers their head, a silent eulogy playing between their lips for this place that used to be, for the love that used to be and is no longer, for the love that has wilted and rotted into hatred. And when they lift their head, their faces composed barely once more, though there is a bead of something bright and red in the corners of their eyes. They push up off of their cane, and there's Diablo at the threshold of this ruined building, looking over at Tavash with concern and care. Tavash inclines their head toward Diablo, approaches him. And Dante the crow, lights off of from where it was perched near Xainan, flutters off in Diablo and Tavash's direction and lands on a piece of rubble. And Tavash pauses at the threshold with her back to your party and says, I have some matters to attend to back at my roost. You can try to find what you may here in the rubble, but every piece of it has already been picked clean. My mother assured that, after all. The one building she would not let me demolish. They turn their head back forward again. And they go. And Diablo follows. A fluttering of wings from Dante. And they're gone. And it's just the four of you here. Lumièra. And Yanhuan turns to face you fully. Instantly. Are you okay? Are you in pain?
Lumièra, at that question, she laughs, scoffs. Her expression shows that it's a loaded answer, and she doesn't even know where to start. So she just drops to her knees in the middle of the rubble, hunched on her calves, her entire body language, everything about her. It's almost as if you can see that concrete wall that she keeps up around her disapparate before your eyes into dust, and you just see her.
Lumièra.
She looks up to the sky as if begging and pleading for some type of words, something, anything to come, whisk her away, give her a sign something. And when it's been a breath or two and nothing comes, she just sits there. I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
That question that he's wanted to ask, he doesn't say it. But Xainan walks carefully, tenuously, not too scared of the answer, back towards Lumièra.
Seir's legs are like jelly the second that Lumièra fell to her knees. And he walks with that unassuredness, seeing her this way, and gently lowers himself to a crouch to listen.
She starts to self-soothe. Her hands are rubbing back and forth on her thighs, gripping her cloak, trying to find something with her hands to distract. I haven't been 100% honest. And she asks this question laughably almost, because she knows you remember, but it's the only way she can transition into the topic. Remember when I put Kamani in that liminal before we came here? In front of everyone. Well, my meeting with fate was about that. She wasn't too happy. Words were said. And we both came to the mutual conclusion that maybe this was not what was best for me. So she sealed it. She cut it off. I don't have access to that part of me anymore. And her voice breaks in that she shudders as if another wave of that pain, of that simmering of her chronergy flushed through her. And she slaps both of her knees and grips them, her knuckles turning white with how tightly she's grasping for something.
Okay. And just next to her hand, offering it like a hand reaching to someone lost in a storm, Xainan's hand is there.
She scrambles to grab it, before she even realizes it.
He
And
looks
her-
up to her, and then to Seir and Yinghe very quickly, and then back to her.
It's for the best. It's just something that I have to get used to. So, I refuse to be a stray thread in the tapestry. Her tapestry of the journey. So, it's just something that we all have to get used to. Now, it's not something that I do anymore. My journey, my calling, I am a healer. I'm a healer. And that's what I do. That's my purpose in the journey. And chronology is not that.
Seir drops to his knees. Right in front of you. Right by your side, he drops to his knees. The entire weight of his person slams against the ground. A knight would stand still. A knight might offer a hand on your shoulder. A knight would say... I don't know what a knight would say. I don't know what I would say. But Seir just, in one quick motion, pulls you into a hug. He is not doing what a knight would do. This is not what a knight would do. This is what he wants to do. And he wraps his large arms around you. And as you rest your head against his chest, you hear the broken hitches, the smell of dark amber and aged jasmine. Seir cries with you. It's quiet. Silent tears falling past his cheek. And he is silent for a moment, taking every word you say. He is no stranger to fate and her casual cruelty. He knows that. But knowing that you are hurting, he just holds you so close for these heartbeats.
Lumièra, she doesn't let you go. When you wrap your arms around her, her arms reach up and wrap around your neck. Tight, gripping, as if you are the only thing that is keeping her here, grounded. And just as softly, as imperceptibly in between her silent cries and gasps for breath, it's loud enough for y'all to hear, but still so much more quiet than you've heard her speak before. And the only words that she says is, hurts so bad. It hurts.
Xainan's hand tightens around hers, and he realizes something. What he thought was his heartbeat pounding. That's impossible. It was a knocking. This pain from Lumièra knocking at a door locked and barred deep inside of Xainan Esch. And as she says it hurts, his daughter, in need of help, in pain, because fate told her she is not perfect. That door, that bar, shatters. And what is behind it is a truth that Xainan refused to look at for a decade as an agent at Trans. That he doesn't actually trust. Does not trust in her will. He trusts in this family. And he holds her hand because it is the most important thing in the entire multiverse, in the entire journey, in every choice he has made.
Lumièra, the second you break, Seir weeps. The straight-spined hold he has on you, he envelops you, his whole back covers you as you lean into his neck, and he weeps with you, he sobs, you hear it. I know. Mira. Mira. I will always have time for you. Always.
Yinghe is squeezing your other hand, the one that Xainan's fingers aren't interwoven with. This whole time they have been very, very, very quiet and very, very, very still. And when they speak, their words are firm and certain. And they say, I didn't come to the Wild Sea or the City of Heaven or Inferno for what fate said you should be. I didn't even know she was a person at the time. A precept, as you all told me. I came here for you, Lumièra. As you are. As all of you are. I don't know what I would do if I was cut off from my magic. If I didn't have my shadows. A pause, and then that same affect, that same certainty, that firmness, a slight squeezing of your hand. I think I hate her.
Lumièra doesn't say anything. I think if anything else, she burrows herself deeper into Seir. Her anchor, her tether. The only one she has left. And she just grips Seir so much tighter. So much tighter.
You hear it like a mantra in your ear. I will always have time for you. I will never run out of time for you. I will always have time for you.
Strike Team Nova. You hold each other. You hold your suffering and your broken heart. Your vicious and grieving hand. Your strong and gentle bulwark. Your silent and patient shadow. You will get through this together, as you always have, as you always will. Collectively grieving. Collectively haunted. And we're going to end the session there. Thank you all so much for tuning in so far to this latest installment of the Chaos Protocol. I have been your game master and creative director, Connie Chang. Pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me across the internet at @byConnieChang. I'm going to pass along introductions to Valiant Love Wins Dorian.
Hello everyone, I am Valiant. Love wins, love hurts, but love will always have time for you, Dorian. And I use he, him, his pronouns. And you can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Otso Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. And tonight, I have been your not knight, Seir, who uses he, they pronouns. I'm going to pass it on over to Papa.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris. It has been my sincere pleasure to play Pop, who uses he, him pronouns. I'm gonna pass that on over to my daughter.
Hello, it is the daughter. I am Sam Star. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns. You can catch me all across the interwebs at Lust for Life X. And I have had the pleasure of playing Lumièra, who finally found her family. What's up, boss? Take us home.
It's me, boss! Thank you all so much for tuning into this deeply sad, but also still feral episode of the Chaos Protocol. If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, please leave us a positive review on social media, join the Discord server, or post about us on your platforms. Not only does sharing and spreading the good word of Transplanar help our creator brains when we are on the verge of burnout, it also helps us continue to reach out to sponsors to make this work possible. Also consider pledging to our Patreon if you are able to do so. We will be back with some more chaos next week. Is that true? Yes, I think we will be back with some more chaos next week. But in the meantime, stick around for the raid. We will see you back here next week, same time, same place. That's gonna be March 1st, the beginning of my birthday month. March is my birthday month. Yay! You all better be there. So in the meantime, send the love over to our raid. We're going to be raiding someone really awesome right now, no doubt. If you're on YouTube, hop over to our Twitch to join the raid. We love you all so much. We'll see you next week, March 1st, 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. In the meantime, journey well, Transplaners. Howdy, Transplaners! You know what time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your Blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, Transplaners, here's a special sneak peek at a kit-bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed Blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look at how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will.